Gentlemen, for coming. Thanks to all those who sit behind you and all the ones you represent in your various commands and all the work they do to help keep our country safe. Admiral Rogers, thank you for hosting me recently at the NSA and Cyber Command. General Selva, Admiral Haney, I hope to be able to visit your command sometime soon as well. Since they're not right down the street, it makes it a little bit harder to get there. I too want to support the statement of Senator King and Senator McCain about the need to develop offensive cyber capacities. It's far beyond the technical means that I learned as an infantryman, but basic infantry doctrine said simply, you're on the offense when you're moving, and you're on the defense when you're not on the offense. So that means you're on the defense when you're just sitting there waiting for someone to attack you, which is not the posture we want to have. All of you have said in your statements, both written and oral, in response to questions about the ongoing negative and severe impacts that sequestration has had on our capabilities. We are now in a debate about what to do on that topic. One proposal in the budgets of the House and Senate budget committees, which are works in progress, and I don't expect you to comment on them, is to leave the base budget where it currently would be at $498 billion and potentially increase wartime spending, or what we call overseas contingency operation spending in this building, by up to $90 billion. So the total DoD budget would be almost $600 billion. I'd just like to get your thoughts, again, not necessarily on those budget documents, but on the general concept of keeping sequestration caps in place, but having substantially higher overseas contingency operation spending. We can start with Admiral Haney and move down the line.
Senator Cotton, overseas contingency operational funding can be problematic in terms of what you can use it for. But even more importantly, I think, is the long-term planning. When we talk about having the government, the military operate more efficiently, we have to be able to deal with it on more than just 1 year at a time. And without the ability to have that long-term planning and the flexibility by where you take cuts and what have you, we will be inefficient, quite frankly, and it will raise havoc in terms of our joint military force capability at large.
General Selva.
Senator, I worry that an incremental approach to sequestration relief will put us in a place where, as Senator King said, we'll find ourselves being penny wise and pound foolish. Inside the transportation and distribution enterprise, when we see a decrease in the demand signal that's the result of bringing forces out of Afghanistan, that's reason to celebrate. When we watch a decrease in mission set that's a consequence of services cutting their exercise and readiness programs that also place a demand signal on the transportation enterprise, that puts us in a place where we are likely to be less ready than we ever have been in our prior history. And it's a consequence of the services not knowing where the next marginal dollar is going to come from. So if we take an incremental approach to sequestration relief, you still create the same kind of uncertainty that makes us inefficient and ineffective. And so I would worry that with that proposal, not knowing any of the details behind it.
Admiral Rogers.
I would echo the comments of my colleagues. The other point I would make from a Cyber Command perspective is we're a relatively young, immature organization. We are just starting, if you will, the build out of our capabilities. I don't have decades of investment that I can fall back on. So this is all, as we're trying to build a long-term sustained plan in a high threat and ever-growing environment, this up and down annual incremental approach to doing business makes it very difficult for us to build a long-term sustainable plan in the face of this ever-increasing threat.
So if I could maybe synthesize what I'm hearing from the three of you, this approach of significantly increasing OCO spending but leaving the base budget where it is, maybe better than nothing, only slightly better though because of the inefficiencies and the difficulty for the long-term planning you require?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, and I'd also say it's a signal to our adversaries of how serious we are on deterrence assurance and ensuring we have a military capability.
Thank you. Let me move from the very big topic to a very small but important topic. General Selva, coming up on the summer season, PCS season, big delays recently in shipping privately owned vehicles, OCONUS for our troops that are going overseas. That's a significant emotional event whenever a family gets OCONUS and doesn't have their vehicle. Can you talk to us about what we've done to avoid those kind of delays this year?
Yes, sir. I had a meeting with the contractor that holds that contract on the 12th of February. and the subject of the meeting was their training program, their employment program, the number of employees they have on board, and the operational concepts that they intend to use this summer to meet what we would call the summer surge, where we'll move about 40,000 cars through the summer season as we move soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and State Department employees around the world. They presented a plan. The plan is reasonable. We have looked at inside the command at all of the metrics that we'll use to measure that execution, and I demanded from the company they provide me with the underlying subcontracts that I could review with the people that are going to provide those services. It is a reasonable operational plan. It's their responsibility to execute. I'll use all the tools that exist in the contract to compel them to execute throughout the summer.
Good. Thank you.